Hello and welcome to another AIM recipe demo. I'm Michelle, your nutrition educator. AIM stands for the Agricultural Institute of Marin, a 501c3 nonprofit organization that operates 8 certified farmers markets in the San Francisco Bay Area. AIM's mission is to educate the public about the health, environmental, and economic impacts of eating locally grown food directly from farmers, and to connect and support communities and local food systems so the public can access healthy, sustainably grown food. Check out our website at www.agriculturalinstitute.org to learn more about where you can find an AIM market or our mobile market, the Roll-In Route. Let's get started. In today's recipe, we'll be making garlicky roasted vegetables. Now, roasting is one of my favorite methods, and it's really my go-to when I'm not sure what else to do with a particular vegetable. It's simple, and it brings out a depth and a sweetness that you can sometimes miss if you've only had something raw or steamed. The other great thing about roasting vegetables is that they're easy to store, so you can make a bunch at one time, store them in the fridge, and then use smaller amounts in various recipes over several days. And of course, having a lot of colorful vegetables ready to go at any given time lets you fill your plate with vegetables whenever you're building a meal. It's a great way to vary your veggies throughout the week. This recipe is super simple, and it's meant to be a template that can be used for any vegetable you like. You can use the basic recipe and then mix and match different veggies, different seasonings, and different flavors depending on what you like and what's available in season. Okay, for ingredients we'll need 4 cups of vegetables chopped into pieces. This can be a single vegetable or you can use a combination of veggies. I'm going to be using 3 different vegetables: butternut squash, cauliflower, and potatoes. Now when you're using a mix of vegetables, the main thing to keep in mind is to keep them sort of similar. For example, the ones I'm using here are pretty dense, so they'll generally cook at about the same rate. You also want to chop the pieces into approximately the same size, again, so that they all cook evenly. You could also use less dense vegetables like broccoli, cabbage, or even bok choy with generally the same process. You'll just want to check them earlier because they'll probably finish a little bit faster than these would. Okay, for the rest of the ingredients, we'll need 4 tablespoons of olive oil, any seasonings you'd like, and I'm going to go ahead and use pepper and oregano today, 4 cloves of garlic minced, and then I have some herbs for finishing. Now the herbs are totally optional, but anytime I can add greens to anything, it ups my veggies for the day. Also, I can never resist fresh herbs at the market because they always look so good. So today I'm going to go ahead and use some fresh parsley. As far as tools, we'll need a cutting board, a knife for chopping the vegetables, and of course here I've already chopped my vegetables. We'll also need a big mixing bowl and a big spoon, and then we'll need a big baking sheet. And what I've done is put some foil on the baking sheet since it makes the cleanup just a little bit easier. We're only going to use the oven for this recipe, and I've already preheated it to 450 degrees. I'm going to use my regular oven, but if you're making a small batch and don't want to heat up the whole kitchen, a toaster oven is totally a good option as well. Okay, so we're going to put all this together now. So I'm going to mix the chopped vegetables and the oil and my seasonings all together, and I'm just going to give them a toss. Now you'll notice that I left the garlic aside for a little bit. We'll get back to that in just a few minutes. Okay, now that I've got them all tossed together, everything's pretty well coated. I'm gonna put these out onto my tray in a single layer. Now we'll try not to overcrowd the pan. You want enough room for air to circulate so the pieces get nice and brown and crispy. These are going to go into the oven to get them started cooking, and then we'll check on them in 10 minutes. Okay, it's been 10 minutes and I've pulled them out of the oven. I know they're not done yet, but I want to do 2 things. First, I need to add the garlic that I left out earlier, and I'm just going to sprinkle that on top. Second, I'm going to stir everything up so that the pieces cook evenly all the way around. Now, I left out the garlic earlier because it tends to burn quickly. So by waiting until about halfway, it isn't in the oven long enough to burn. Also, I needed to stir the veggies anyway, so it was easy enough to mix in the garlic at this point. Since my vegetables were cut a little bit small, I think they're only going to need another 5 minutes or so. So back into the oven, and I'll check back in 5 minutes. And here's our finished roasted vegetables. I went ahead and sprinkled parsley on it, so now it's ready to serve. So what can you do with roasted vegetables? So many things. Roasted vegetables can be served with eggs, like with an omelet or a fried egg. It could be a side for a main dish like fish or chicken. It could be mixed with beans and brown rice for a complete meal on its own. Or leftovers could even be topped on a salad at tomorrow's lunch. I hope you'll try roasting vegetables and find your favorite way to serve them. It's yet another way to enjoy the fresh, in-season produce you'll find at the farmer's market or on the roll-in route. Thank you so much for joining me again for another recipe demonstration using seasonal ingredients you can find at Ames Farmers Markets. Keep checking Ames' website for new videos of local farms and interviews with farmers growing your food. We're looking forward to sharing more with you very soon.